Hi there, David Rakovich, President of Stockton Maritime Museum, with our long overdue Summer 24 progress video update. We have a lot of ground to cover today because it's been since late last year, probably October, November, we posted our last video update. And we have a lot to report, starting with right here, this gangway I'm standing on. This was a gift from our friends down at the USS Iowa, down in San Pedro. This was their original gangway until they built a much bigger one. But makes it a lot easier to get up on the Lucid if you're in a walker or just carrying gear or something like that. It really makes a hell of an improvement. And this is the Portside Hull. This has all been refinished since our last video. It's even got spider webs and dust on it already. It's been done for a while. But really came out nice. Up on the bow, we have just the numbers left to install, and then this side of the hull will be completed. Let's go up on the Fantail and show you some of the other work we've just completed. Well, here we are on the Fantail deck. This was quite a project. Just recently, in the last few weeks, this roofing material, the non-skid, the elastomeric went on, but this project started last year with the total replacement of this entire deck. A lot of this was rotted, and we had some volunteers here that came all the way from Ohio, and they spent a week here helping us replace this deck. That was Rodney, Scott, and Brian Harold. They came here last year when it was about 110 and spent a week putting down this new deck with us. It really came out nice, and now finally we have a waterproof roof over. Let's see, this is the aft engine room, the shop, emergency radio transmitter room, and emergency steering. So we're really tickled that this came out so nice. All we have left here is to install the hatches and build our taft rail around the stern, and we'll be done here. This is the port Kingpost crane that we just fabricated and installed earlier this year. Mike McDowell did a lot of fabrication on this, and it's not only pretty, it's useful. This is a 4,000 capacity crane that we've already used to lift our gangway up, along with some much heavy gear like our transformer, weighed 1,000 pounds. We got that on board, so it not only looks nice, it's very useful. No more carrying heavy stuff up on our backs. Then our volunteer you've heard me talk about in the past, Jack Frost, he had restored a number of our first aid boxes. We got one here installed on the Fantail next to our drop-down life jacket lockers. These we built all from scratch. There again, Mike McDowell broke this metal on his metal brake, and Richard Ballantyne spent a month here installing probably 250 rivets on each one, and we exactly matched the originals. Interesting story about these. Someone contacted us that saw a picture of this on Facebook and told us when he was on board one of these MSOs, the chiefs had him take all the life jackets out of it so they could paint it inside and out, and they accidentally dropped one overboard and it promptly sank. They thought that was quite a fluke, so they threw another one in when no one was looking, and it sank too. So just an interesting little story I hear from these veterans. So we have about half a dozen of these now hung all over the ship as they were originally. Here we are on the O2 level, starboard side, right outside the pilot house. The Bridgewing here, this has been completely replaced. Bob Ladd, one of our longtime carpenter volunteers, spent a couple weeks here on his back putting this together. The original one was all rotted, and this is where the gyro compass repeaters, one on each side, one on port, one on starboard, are mounted, that are used during docking and situations like that. And the accuracy here is incredible. We even have the opening here for our future navigation light that goes right under here. Someone online commented about this. They never knew that was there, but that is how it was originally built. Okay, we're up on the forecastle on the O1 level. This is the forward bulkhead of the captain's cabin. This has recently been restored. It was a real mess, a lot of damage up here. So we were able to find some 1/4-inch fiberglass panels to reskin this with, and that really came out nice. This is the spare 40mm barrel box that Jack Frost built the box and the bracket from the original plans, and he installed it here late last year. All the fire gear, as was done here per the plans. This is the ready ammo locker for the 40 millimeter Bofors that was refurbished and just installed here. And both port and starboard sides up here had vertical hauser reels. We got these off of a ship that was decommissioned up in Bremerton, Washington a number of years ago. Richard Ballantyne, one of our volunteers who's a good welder, he cut them down to the proper length of what was here originally. And we just got these installed and we got our first mooring line on here. So all this gear is really starting to make it look like the ship that it once was. We're on the 01 level here, port side, at the quarterdeck. This quarterdeck instrumentation was just installed. There's still a little bit more to go here. And this is where we're going to enter the ship when we're downtown. Regardless of which way the ship is facing, you'll enter right here at the quarterdeck, which is dead center right in the middle of the ship. And all our utilities are going to feed in right here at this side. Just recently in our memorial we held on board, one of our volunteers even rang the officers on board. Real Navy custom and tradition. One of our current ongoing major projects is the permanent power supply for the ship. These panels have just gone up along with a transformer on the other side of this bulkhead in forward engine room. This is 400 amp, 480 volt, three-phase service that will serve the entire ship with all of our loads that we have now and the ones that we anticipate in the future. This is quite a job, as expensive as you can imagine. We got some good deals. Some of the stuff we bought used, but still, this is not inexpensive work to do. This will be ready to go when we get downtown. We'll be able to feed the ship with primary power from both port and starboard sides, right at the 01 level at the quarterdeck. I always mention that if you have any MSO artifacts that you'd like to donate to a museum so they could be on permanent display, and I'm going to do it again today, but I'm going to show you some wonderful artifacts that came in since our last video was made. Starting with some 3-inch shells that we're going to use for display, maybe at the entrance to the gift shop or something like that. An original recipe book where one of our volunteers, Richard Ballantyne, he came aboard an MSO as an engineman, and 3 days later he found himself in the galley and he never looked back. He was a cook for the next 3 years, having never received training, but he liked it much more than working down in the engine room. David Bruin, the author up in Chico who writes all kinds of books about naval history. He wrote the one about wooden ships and iron men, donated a whole stack of booklet of general plans. These are the small sets of plans that went with each ship when the ship was out at sea, so they can make repairs and things like that. What they are is they're miniature versions of the original blueprints. But we have one of these for every subclass of MSOs. He acquired these when he was stationed in the Pentagon in the 90s, and these MSOs were being decommissioned. We were lucky enough to be donated an entire truckload of gear by John Trail out of Everett, Washington, a naval collector. He gave us such things, notable things as original portholes, replacement porthole glasses, and interestingly enough, an original bronze wheel off the emergency steering compartment. This is what was back at the aft end of the ship where a sailor could turn the rudders manually under conditions where they may have lost power or something like that. Original MSO bell. This was donated to us by Frank McCullough of Virginia. The 70-pound bell came off the USS Leader. He was an ops officer when that ship was being decommissioned, and they gave him some souvenirs, and he walked away with this beautiful bell. Jeff Blankenship, who was involved with the Lucid when it was out at Bradford Island, long before I ever got involved with it, came by recently and donated us his original MSO engineering manual that must have come off the Lucid. He believed it came off the Lucid. And original from, it looks like it's dated from the late 1960s. Mine Division 92, 1970 cruise book. This was donated by a sailor who came by recently, Mike Nemantis. Much appreciated, Mike. A thumb drive full of hundreds of original photos of MSOs being built right here in Stockton, California at Kohlberg Shipyard. Chris Kohlberg of Reno, Nevada donated an entire set of these to us. And a a radio talker helmet. This is the large helmet that the sailors would wear when they were wearing the communication gear, and this is the microphone that they wore on their chest. These were worn at people at critical places at battle stations around the ship to maintain communications through the sound-powered telephone. That was donated by Lynn Jenkins of Reno, Nevada. And finally, this name board here. This is off the USS Conquest, obviously, donated to us by Joe Materano in New York City. He runs a Minesweeper history page on Facebook. Thank you, Joe. That is beautiful. That's going to make a great display in our museum. And we're using these original style letters to make replacement name boards for the Lucid. We're going to use these to come up with new letters for our name boards. So keep those donations coming. We really appreciate this kind of stuff. If you have anything that you'd like to donate to us, please contact us and we'll let you know if we could use it. Thank you. We're in the Wardroom this morning. I want to talk to you about a couple special events that we hosted here this year. One was a first. As I mentioned in our last video, we lost some important supporters of our museum, and one that passed away late last year after that last video was Commander J. Loach. He was the skipper of the USS Adroit, a sister ship to this one here. He'd been involved with us for a number of years after meeting us through the Mine Warfare Association, and he would come out every year from Texas to visit us and spend several days here. He'd speak to the students at our school here about service in the Navy, and he came several years to our volunteer appreciation dinner out at the ranch. He passed away late last year, 92 years old, 93 years old. A tremendous supporter financially, and we would speak at least twice a week on the phone, and he was a wealth of information and happy to share it with us. So we're sorry to lose him, but his family held a memorial here, a very fitting Navy memorial for him in April of this year. We had 70 of his family members attend. They attended from all over the country. His family was scattered all over the country. And one of his last wishes was, instead of them gathering in Texas, he wanted them to come out to Stockton and see the sister ship that he commanded. Very well attended. We had the honor guard from American Legion, and we were really pleased. I think we honored his memory in a way that being the sailor that he was, he would appreciate. On a brighter note, we held an open house in late April, early May, over a weekend, and we had 650 people show up. We were completely blown away by the attendance and the interest. So much so that we're going to be holding another one this October, Saturday, October the 5th. Watch for details on our Facebook page. And we plan to do it for one day. If signups are incredibly busy, we'll schedule a second day. But we look forward to hosting another one. We've promoted the last one just locally. We're going to promote this one a little wider up and down the state of California. So we'd love to have you come and see us. It's difficult for us to give tours during the week when we have many people working here, so we're trying to hold these open houses at least 2 or 3 times a year. One visitor I have to mention is Pearl Harbor survivor Robert Fernandez, who came to our open house. 99 years young. He came through with a couple family members or friends, and right in this room in the chief's quarters, the wardroom, we had quite a conversation. He spent quite a few hours here on board telling us stories about what it was like experiencing the attack on Pearl Harbor. He was serving on a seaplane tender, the USS Curtis, right across from Battleship Row, and saw the whole thing happen. And he certainly had he still has all his marbles. He told some phenomenal stories here. It's a real honor to meet someone at 99 years of age and to recount those stories of that historic day. I've talked a lot about the work we've accomplished recently, and an important project we're working on now, we're making a lot of progress on, and that's our eventual move to our permanent location in the historic downtown Stockton waterfront. We have preliminary plans put together. This is a site down on Weber Avenue in downtown Stockton where we hope to permanently moor the USS Lucid. We've recently received our first state funding to fund the architecture, engineering, and planning for this project. So we're quite pleased that the state sees the value in what we're trying to do here. And our architect, Rex Ramsey, our board director, put together some artwork. This is the site. This is what we're looking for here. We're going to build a recreation of the old Kohlberg Boat Works building. And this is an access building that's going to have stairs and an elevator in it to get to the second story. So you could take a gangway straight across to the Lucid over the Joan Dara Promenade that will remain open to the public. Make it a lot easier for folks that have trouble climbing up a steep gangway to get over to the ship. We have a small building here at the gate right along Weber Avenue. It's going to contain a shop and living quarters for a caretaker. And let me discuss the Kohlberg boat building reproduction again. The ground floor is going to contain shops and a classroom. We want to continue our work with vocational high school students from around the county. And the second story will be a large room, a 5,000 square foot room, which was originally the mold loft. We're going to use it for special events. We could hold fundraisers or possibly rent the building out as a source of revenue for the museum. So we're excited to kick off this project after much anticipation. I've been showing you that photo work of the ship downtown, that Photoshop photo that we made about a dozen years ago. Well, now it's finally starting to take shape for real. I earlier mentioned that we got some state support to start this development of this project downtown, and that money is strictly limited to the engineering, architecture, and permitting of this project. None of that money can be used on the restoration of the ship. So here comes the pitch. So those of you that have been supporting us, we want to thank you. We hope you could continue that support by seeing the progress we've made with your support. And those of you that haven't yet begun supporting us, we'd like you to jump on board with us. We'll have our phone number and our mailing address here online. We also have a donate button, a PayPal donate button on our Facebook page and on our website. Simple, easy. We have a number of people that make automatic monthly payments, $25, $50, $100. And all this work you see being done here is because of donors like you. We don't have any sugar daddies that are supporting us. We're counting on you individuals to keep this work going. We couldn't do it without you. And finally, once again, Saturday, October the 5th, we're having our next open house. We'd love to have you come down, and if you haven't been here for a number of years, we'd love to have you come down and see the progress we're making. Thanks to your support. Tell a friend. We probably won't be having another one until next spring after the rainy season is over. Okay, thanks again for your donations. Some of those donations you saw earlier for your financial support. We couldn't do this without you. We look forward to seeing you on October the 5th or any other time you want to come by and notify us first. We can give tours by appointment only. But thanks again for your support. We'll see you soon. Bye now.